Welcome back to the channel. This is Sawtooth Tactical, and this is the best handgun caliber, 9mm. This video might hurt a few feelings, but that is okay. Whenever I do a video about something like this Springfield Prodigy here, I get comments from people, why isn't it available in 45 ACP? That would be so much better if it was 10mm. And I'm here to tell you, no, it wouldn't be. And in fact, it would kind of defeat the whole purpose of a gun like this. Now, don't get me wrong. I love 45 ACP. I love 10mm. 40 Smith & Wesson, take it or leave it. I saw a video about a month or two ago from a much bigger YouTube channel than mine. And he was basically saying that it's a shame that all the gun companies make all the new pistols in 9mm. And he had all these reasons why 9mm should not be your go-to pistol caliber. Well, as I was watching that video, I disagreed with just about everything that he had to say. And so I've been planning on making this video ever since. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'm going to tell you why 9mm really is the best handgun caliber. I remember when I first got into firearms, I really wanted a 1911 because they just look classic, and it had to be in 45 ACP, right? Because bigger bullet, bigger hull, must stop in power, 2 world wars. Well, you know what? I got a 1911 45 ACP. And you know what I have now? I have a 1911 in 9mm. And you want to know why? For one, I get a little bit more capacity, which when you're talking 7 rounds versus 10, that's 30% more rounds. That's actually quite a bit, even though it's only 3 rounds. But for 2, have you ever shot a 1911 in 9mm? It is a real joy to shoot. The recoil, when you're running it in a handgun that's this heavy, all-metal gun, is negligible. And so you're able to shoot it very fast, keep rounds on target, follow-up shots just feel easier, and that makes it a lot more fun to shoot. And let's face it, while a lot of owning firearms has to do with being prepared for that worst situation that you hope you're never in, what you're mostly going to be doing with your guns is shooting them at the range, which is a fun time. And so I want it to be more fun, and 9mm is more fun. But there are a lot more reasons than just that. One of the first things, and we have to bring it up, is stopping power. The 9mm versus 45 ACP debate, which now versus 10mm, because 10mm has been getting really popular again lately. And I think 10mm is awesome. It's an awesome cartridge. I also love 45 ACP. But unless I am going out in the woods, which I do actually go out in the woods very regularly, 10mm, in my opinion, is for a certain use. If I need to protect myself against bears or mountain lions, 10mm is the way to go. If I need to protect myself against possible 2-legged threats, 9mm will do the job just fine. And in fact, I'm willing to argue that it will do the job better. I've done a lot of research and I've watched a lot of videos with ballistics testing, with ballistic gelatin, with the ballistic dummy labs, you know, that have all the bones and everything like a human being has in it. And you know what? When it comes to pistol rounds, 9, 40, 45, they all pretty much do the same thing in the ballistic gel. Quick word from this video's sponsor. I've been using Aura now for a couple of months. I know you guys have seen it in my videos if you've been watching. And it's a product and a service that I really actually believe in at this point. It has totally stopped me from getting spam calls. Now, data brokers are a real thing these days. Scammers, spammers, all this stuff. I've been trying to sell a pickup truck lately. And at first, all I was getting was scammers. Well, Aura took care of that. And I'm not hearing from the scammers anymore. Unfortunately, I still haven't sold the truck, but I've got a lot of examples like that. In fact, the place where I work just recently got scammed and we lost out on a whole day's worth of revenue. Well, Aura can stop things like that from happening. They search the entire internet for anywhere where your information is being sold to people, and they submit opt-out requests on your behalf, which takes care of your information being out there. It clears you up so that you stop getting spam calls, you stop getting scammers. There are people out there these days whose whole career is just scamming people out of their money by finding their information on the internet. And as sickening and as sad as that is, it's a reality. And for only $12 a month, you can stop them from being able to take advantage of you. If you use my link, which is the first link in the description, aura.com/sawtooth-tactical, you get to try it out free for 2 weeks. And then you can decide if it's something that you still want to stick with. But Aura is pretty confident that you'll stick with it, and that's why they give you that 2-week free trial. $12 a month after that is a really good deal for all of the different things that you get with Aura. I've been sticking with it for a few months. I'm really happy with it. I respect my privacy and I respect yours. Any handgun caliber is not going to be as effective as a rifle caliber. The terminal ballistics just aren't there. That doesn't mean it's not effective. It is. And especially with modern hollow point technology, handgun calibers will stop a threat. And whether you're shooting that threat with 9mm, with 40, 45, or even 10mm, they are all going to have that stopping power. At least as good a stopping power as you can get out of a pistol round. The thing is we're not all shooting just regular ball rounds anymore. Full metal jacket. Now, what any smart gun owner does is they shoot full metal jacket rounds for practice because they are cheap. And we're going to get to that too. But you carry defensive expanding hollow points. And a 9mm expanding hollow point is just as effective as any bigger caliber. It expands, it gets bigger, it dumps all the energy into the target rather than zipping right through it. And so maybe back in the day when you were running full metal jackets only, yes, a 45 ACP will make a bigger hole than 9mm. At this point though, with expanding hollow points, that position is basically moot. The next thing that I want to talk about is cost, because I literally sold my 45 ACP 1911. I've got a 9mm one. This Springfield Prodigy double stack 9mm 1911 here, I love to run this gun. And when I do, I want to put a lot of rounds through it. It's the kind of gun that you want to shoot fast. And you can dump a 20-round mag very, very quickly. Well, with 9mm, that doesn't really bother me much. 20 rounds of 9mm ball ammo doesn't cost very much. These 100-round boxes from AAC are like $26 for 100 rounds. That comes out to 26 cents a round. If you have bought 45 ACP or 10mm lately, it is much, much more expensive. And so, unless you are just rolling in the dough, you're going to be able to get a lot more practice in, a lot more range time with 9mm because it costs you a lot less money to shoot a lot more rounds. And when you're shooting, you're generally going to shoot better. Now, my 45 ACP 1911, I shot that gun very well. It's a 1911 and I feel like I shoot 1911s well. They just have a natural grip angle to me. The grip angle is natural to me. And they just work. I like them. That's why I like the 2011 so much. But the thing is this. I was recently shooting my brother's 10mm M&P. He has an M&P 2.0 10mm. And he got it for a specific reason. He hunts. It's his bear protection. But you know what? It's basically this same gun chambered in 10mm. But the difference in felt recoil was drastic. And so I have a lot more fun shooting this than I did shooting that 10mm. It was fun to shoot for the day. It was fun to make a video about. But if I was going to go out and train and practice all the time, I would much rather practice and train with something that has less recoil and more capacity. It's nice to have more rounds in your magazine, and it's also nice to have less recoil. And that doesn't mean that I can't handle the recoil. I could shoot that gun just fine. But nobody ever said that they wanted more recoil. The thing about recoil is this. After that first shot, the gun recoils, returns to 0, and then you can get your next shot off. The less recoil it has, the quicker you can get follow-up shots off. So if you are in a defensive situation, you can put more rounds on target faster with 9mm. Another thing about 9mm is it is a NATO round, just like 5.56 NATO, 9mm NATO, meaning it's very standardized, very mass-produced. You can find 9mm anywhere. 5.56, 9mm, 22 long rifle, those calibers are extremely easy to find everywhere, and they're cheap compared to anything that you would compare to them. You know, like a 300 blackout costs more than 5.56. A 10mm costs more than a 9mm. And that's for a lot of reasons. For one, yes, it is smaller, so it uses less material to manufacture a 9mm round. But for two, it's mass produced in such large quantities all over the world, and especially here at home in the United States, that the market is flooded with 9mm. You can get it for a really good price, and you can always get it. And that is important, because just having mags loaded up with defensive ammo, like this Federal HST here, is not enough. You have to be able to go out and train. And if the ammo is cheap and available, the likelihood that you're going to train with it more is very high. If the ammo is harder to find and much more expensive, you're probably going to be less likely to want to go out and shoot a bunch of really expensive ammo. I know I am. Now, I go shoot just about every weekend, and I shoot a variety of different things depending on what videos I'm filming for that week. But I love when I'm filming a video about something chambered in 9mm, like Tuesday's video. These magazines, it doesn't bother me to load up a bunch of these with AAC 124 grain 9mm, which I pretty much stockpile this stuff, because it doesn't cost me that much. If I want to go through 100 rounds, that's $26. 200 rounds, I'm just at $50. You know, a lot of other ammo choices are going to cost you way more than that if you want to actually put a significant amount of rounds through your gun that day. And that does make a difference with how much you decide that you're going to shoot. Because 9mm is a NATO round and it's so popular, and this was the other YouTuber whose video made me want to do this one, he was lamenting the fact that every gun company comes out with a new pistol in 9mm. Well, there is a good reason for that. And it's all the previous reasons I mentioned, but that in itself is a great reason for 9mm, in my opinion. You can find just about any gun that you want in 9mm. I can't get this Springfield Prodigy in something other than 9mm. And while yes, you can get like a Rock Island 10mm, double stack 1911, it's just not the same. I promise you. When you go out and shoot this, one of the wonderful things about it is how little it recoils. And so you're able to shoot very fast, and it makes you feel very confident. While I can shoot a 10mm just fine, especially a big metal framed Rock Island, it's still not the same. I can't just freaking laser beam shots onto target like I can with this thing or this thing. And we're going to have a video about this next week. But because the round is so popular, they make so many firearms in 9mm, including AR platform guns. This shoots 9mm, and it is cheap fun to take it to the range. But also because of that, there are plenty of options for good defensive rounds if you're worried about your stopping power. I really like Federal HST. These SIG Elite Defense are good. Spear Gold Dot or G2, these are fantastic. I've even been carrying this SIG 365 ammo in my P365. It's meant for shorter barrels. They have all kinds of defensive loads specifically designed for different kinds of guns, different circumstances. You can find one that really will work for you. Like this one in my Prodigy here, I like to run that Spear G2 because it has a polymer insert in the tip and it's kind of rounded off, not as sharp. So it just seems to feed better when I rack it. Now this gun doesn't have a problem running other hollow points, but when I first got it and I racked the slide, a Federal HST did get hung up on the feed ramp like twice, but it never has with these. And that's the thing, you have lots of good options with 9mm. My dad carried a 1911 back in the 1970s. I did a video about that. It is this Colt Commander model. And he used to tell me about it. I assumed it was in 45 because 1911. Turns out that even my dad carried a 9mm 1911. And this old gun shoots like an absolute dream. And that's the thing about 9mm. It's just got a really soft, really easy to manage recoil impulse. You get more capacity, which nobody ever said that they wanted less rounds in their gun. That means a couple things. Say you're in a defensive situation, you might not shoot up to your full potential. If you miss a few times, well, the more rounds you have left give you more chances to get on target. These are 20-round magazines for the Springfield Prodigy there. 17 rounds standard for that. I've got 12 rounds in a flush fit magazine in this little tiny carry gun. And that to me is a pretty sweet thing. It makes you feel good about what kind of situation you may be able to handle. And again, more capacity also means more time in between reloads at the range when you're practicing, which I also believe is a good thing. Cheaper ammo, more practice at the range, less recoil. You can handle it better. You have more fun. That is one of the biggest things to me, is fun. I've spent a lot more time practicing at the range than I have in defensive life or death situations. And so you know what? It's important to me to have fun, and 9mm is super fun. It's a very easy round to shoot. It doesn't feel anemic like 22 long rifle. It feels like a real caliber because it is. But you know what? It's really light recoiling, and you can just go through 9mm and it puts a smile on your face. And to me, that is almost as important as anything else. If you're having a good time, you're gonna practice and train more because you enjoy it. Mostly people want to do things that they enjoy, and they have to force themselves to do things that they don't enjoy. And so if you enjoy shooting more, you're gonna shoot more. And I enjoy shooting 9mm more. So please let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or if you do not, because I have gotten many comments from people about different guns that I've done videos about, saying that it would be so much cooler if it was in 45 ACP or 10mm. And I'm here to tell you that I disagree. Part of what makes a lot of these guns cool is that they're in 9mm. I love 9mm. It's easy to find, it's cheap, it's small enough that you get high capacity, it's low recoil, but it's also very, very effective. The military uses 9mm, FBI. I mean, these Federal HST rounds have been proven to be extremely effective at stopping threats. And that's kind of the whole point. But I want to know if you guys agree with me or not. I try to answer every comment, so please let me know down in the comments. Please subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical if you enjoyed this video. Make sure you share it. And from Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.